Welcome to episode 35 of the Sweet Natured Cruise Cast. Hi, I'm Linz, as always I'm joined by Marky.
Hello.
Hello, and today we're talking formal wear and whether it's becoming outdated. But first, a little mood music.
What did you think of today's mood music?
You know what? For what we're talking about, that is mood music, because I could see us in our formal wear, in a what were you smiling at?
Yeah, I'm just listening to you and smiling.
Don't do that, you unnerve me. We could see us in our formal wear, listening to that type of music in a nice cocktail lounge on a ship.
Thank you for the constructive feedback.
You know,
I will take that.
When am I ever constructive?
No, you normally go, that was terrible, or you laugh, or last episode you told me to get a Euro Millions.
Oh, that was good, yeah, but we didn't
win.
We didn't win, no.
In fact, I don't think we got a number, so that,
no.
I peaked at getting the music right. Well, I will take that. Today's episode, as you've already alluded to, is we're talking about whether formal wear on cruise lines is becoming an outdated concept.
Yes.
We've also got our regular look at a couple of news stories.
Okay.
I think are interesting. There's no cruise confession in this episode. It'll be back for the next episode.
Can we not just save them up and I do a late night one?
No, because the late night ones I can't read out normally. We're going to have to put a special warning out on those ones.
Oh, so they couldn't go on this...
We've already got a couple of late night ones through, and I definitely couldn't put them on here.
Can we... So send your late night ones in.
Yeah. The regular cruise confessions...
You have to be on the cruise. It can't just be...
Yeah, it's not just a late night confession of being out in town.
I'd just do that myself.
That's just Thursday.
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday even. So, yeah, formal wear.
Yes.
Is there still a place for it in sort of the current cruising climate?
The cruising climate.
And as sort of new cruisers come through, because we've got the next generation coming through.
The new to cruising people that the cruise lines they're all trying to get.
The purposefully targeted.
Yes.
Them. So if you go back sort of 30, 40 years ago.
When I was a child.
When you were just a wee infant. Most of the cruise lines, by today's standards, you would have considered formal, which meant that you put, for men, you put at least a shirt and a jacket on for going for dinner. There was no sort of loud T-shirts that you wore walking around the ship, not just at dinner time, but during the ship.
Very like kind of Fred Perry polo shirt. It was like country club. Yeah, golf club.
Goes, includes the likes of P&O. We're not just talking the likes of Cunard at that point. And it's certainly changed over the last 25 years, and I think even more so since the pandemic, where we've seen cruising become increasingly popular.
Yes.
Do you think that there is still sort of a market for it, or is it a declining market, or will it become more specialised?
Well, I like specialised. I think, and by that I mean like themed nights. So
I were meaning more, I'm not saying not with themed nights, we'll come back to that in a second.
What are you saying?
I was meaning more that you'll have cruise lines who, if you want to be more formal, those are the ones you'll go on, such as Cunard.
Yeah, it's going to become Cunard might be the one, but the thing is, people in the workplace, people are getting more and more casual. Yeah,
you certainly don't. I don't have that many meetings with people these days where people have got a suit and tie on.
It looks, to me, depending on the industry, it can look a bit weird these days.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you see a solicitor, they're not.
Well, yeah, I've got friends who are solicitors, and they've said themselves how much it's changed, and I see them coming to meetings now. And don't get me wrong, they've still got a shirt on. Yeah. They're not wearing something like this.
No.
They've still got a shirt on and occasionally a jacket, but the ties have pretty much vanished.
And by solicitor, we mean lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sort of, that kind of, that look, or It's a lot different these days.
It is, yeah. And fashion's changed throughout history.
Yes. Yeah, they do. But it's definitely taken a turn since the pandemic. So what I think's going to happen is that if you're booking Cunard, you might not necessarily have a suit, or you might have to, purchase something to go. I know ladies like to buy new things. Well, I do, but I do get my wear out of them because I go to other events.
Yeah, but you don't get that much wear out of a formal evening dress. You might get sort of 2 or 3 uses out of it over a long period of time. But but what you're not doing is taking it on multiple cruises, because the chances are, if we only ever cruise, for instance, with Cunard, then you would probably get use of a more formal dress, albeit you would want to get a different one each time, because you wouldn't want to be the same dress in the same pictures every time, because you just but I think for the little fly buzzing around.
I hope we don't have an Indiana Jones situation.
What's an Indiana Jones situation?
Where we land on it and we swallow it.
Which Indiana Jones did that happen in?
Where he swallowed the fly. Not Indiana Jones, the baddie, the Nazi guy.
He swallowed a fly.
He swallowed a fly.
Did he?
I'm sure he swallowed a fly.
let us know in the comments below if you remember an Indiana Jones baddie swallowing a fly.
If you had Indiana Jones
swallowing
flies on your Sweet Nature bingo card.
Well done.
Well done.
Get my lottery ticket. Not that we're encouraging gambling. So sort of back to sort of that sort of Cunard and dress from there. I think if you are someone who wears a tuxedo more.
Who wears the tuxedo? Are we James Bond?
I don't mean every day. I don't mean you go to Lidl in your tuxedo.
No, but you're saying...
mean, if you are the sort of person, because not just men can wear a tuxedo, anyone can wear a tuxedo. If you wear a tuxedo, then you will get, if you go on Cunard or cruise lines like that, and I'm still going to think of many others like that now, you will get to wear that time after time. So if you did a couple of cruises a year, you'll get more value out of that. I've got a tuxedo in the wardrobe.
You've got a few dinner jackets, though.
Yeah, but I've got a tuxedo.
Yeah.
I think I've worn that once in the last 4 years, and I'm not even sure if it fits. It's too big now, but it goes in there. And the events that I'd bought that for now don't require you to wear that sort of thing anymore.
No, that's not true. You went to an event the other week and you had it on.
No, I didn't have the tuxedo on.
You had black tie on.
I had a literal black tie and a black jacket.
So a tuxedo, like a dinner jacket.
No, it wasn't like a full shirt and stuff under it.
What did you have under it? You didn't have a vest.
I had a string vest. No, I had a normal dress shirt. I didn't have like the frillies.
Oh, you didn't have the cummerbund.
I didn't have the cummerbund or anything like that, and I can't imagine anytime soon I probably will. There are people that still wear them, of course, but the other side to that is the expense of doing that each time. Also the packing.
Oh yeah.
If you're travelling out of your home port,
and you don't have to fly,
then packing and having an extra suitcase is really not a problem.
No.
But if you're flying overseas,
it's such a
the formal wear.
It's the shoes. It's the dress shoes.
It's the shoes, because I would take my dress shoes for it, and I wouldn't wear them again for any other night.
So it'd be one night for a few hours.
And you're taking maybe 3 or 4 kilos of dress outfits.
Oh,
you know what you drink for one night, which just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm not convinced that long term it's there, but the new audience that the cruise lines are going for, because as I said, I'll just rewind a little bit there.
Okay.
When I was talking about, if you look at cruising 30 or 40 years ago,
I'm
not saying that was a heyday of cruising, because I think it's probably close to being in its heyday right now in terms of volume.
Yeah, well, there's more ships now, isn't there?
But the people who were cruising in that time,
they love to dress up.
They love to dress up, but they're now maybe in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not cruising as much anymore.
But they still like a dress up.
They like a dress up, but they're now the minority of the passenger base going forward. And the cruise lines are looking at who that future base is, and do they want that?
But they also appreciate the cruise lines that you still like to get dressed up when you go away on holiday.
I think there's getting dressed up, and there's formal wear.
Oh, yeah.
Because, for instance, when we've been on Celebrity,
yes,
there's been a few nights where we've gone to sort of the fancier restaurants,
yeah,
where I'll put a jacket on with a shirt.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting a formal wear jacket and shirt
No,
on.
you're just putting, like a nice sports jacket on.
Yeah, it's a nice, smart
jacket
outfit for going to a nice restaurant.
Yes.
You're not wearing formal wear.
No, and you've got your boat shoes on. You haven't got your dress shoes on.
Yeah, you've not got sort of things that are more uncomfortable that you don't wear normally.
Well, saying that, I'll still have my high heels on, but my high heels will go across everything.
Yeah.
I'm like Cilla Black. I can wear them with jeans, or I can wear them with
yeah. If you don't know who Cilla Black is, just Google or Wikipedia, because we're not going into that. There's people who listen from outside the UK who have never heard of Cilla. Cilla.
Well, she was silly, wasn't she, to the Beatles?
Yeah.
Either way, the reason I think I thought of Cilla Black is because they're bringing Blind Date back, and Cilla was famous for wearing her trousers with stilettos, which was a thing.
Good connection there.
My mind.
You've just showed openly how your mind works. It's like when you look at things like ChatGPT or Gemini, and you look at how it's figuring it out as it gives the answer. That was the equivalent of you on screen then. You just openly explained how you got to randomly saying Cilla.
I am a supercomputer.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm the worst supercomputer with numbers. Let's put it that way.
I think, as you rightly said there, people do like to dress up when they go on a cruise. I think it makes cruising different to really any other vacation. I'm struggling to think of another one where you would take really fancy outfits just to go out in an evening.
No, I've done that.
Where?
When we went to Mexico and we stayed in Cancun.
And did you take a fancy evening outfit? We were there for a wedding.
We were with Nicola.
Yeah, but we were there for a wedding, so I think that's probably different.
Because there was like nights out and fancy dinners and nights out.
But I do think that was the nature of
a wedding,
a wedding vacation, as opposed to. I can't imagine I'd take anything remotely like that.
No.
For just a normal.
No.
Land holiday.
No, but it was dresses.
Do you think that we're going to see cruise lines split a little bit within the cruise line? So, for instance, if we look at Cunard again, I don't want it to think that I'm just picking on Cunard, but Cunard's an obvious one when it comes to formal wear.
Yeah.
Because it is the most formal of the main cruise lines.
But the funny thing is, out of all the cruises we've gone on in the last 12 months, the most expensive one was the most casual one in an evening.
In terms of cost of the vacation?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. And you see that with, if you look at ones like Regent, Silver Seas, Windstar, any of that sort of luxury or ultra-luxury ones, as opposed to sort of the main cruise lines or the premium ones, they tend to be dressed out a little bit. You look at someone like Virgin.
Yeah.
There isn't really dress code on Virgin at all. It's wear what makes you look fabulous.
Yeah.
I think that's how they describe it.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that with those ultralines, it's a case of, we know that you have to go with your charity events and things like that, and things we know you have to do.
You assume that everyone who goes on a cruise line goes to a lot of charity events.
I know. I'm just saying that those ultralines, like,
the
in
mindset
your
is that
professional
people
life,
going on them are wealthier.
In your professional life, you have to dress up quite a bit. You're on holiday.
So you dress down.
Sorry, vacation. And you don't need to just come as you are.
I think there's an element of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the only bit.
Whereas if you don't wear things like that, and then during your professional life and your day-to-day life, then it seems fancy when you go on Cunard.
Yeah, maybe. But what we're going to say about Cunard is that they've got 3... what I would class as traditional ships. Mm-hmm. One really traditional in Queen Mary 2, which is one of our favourite ships.
Yeah, and I like dressing up with the theme nights on
and
there.
Then Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria are very Art Deco, and therefore when you get dressed up on that, it still feels right. Queen Anne is a very different shape.
But we can't say, though, because we've not been on...
No, but we've seen it. We've watched videos. We haven't been on it yet.
But a lot of the other lines now, moving away from Cunard, they decide to go with chic night or fancy night or
dress to impress
night, whereas they appreciate you might want to get dolled up a bit, but you won't necessarily want to wear full
formal wear. And I think that's also more fun.
And for me, because there gets to a point throughout the night, and I'm going to be quite descriptive here. No, I'm not. But what I'm going to say is, the underwear gets to a point you're like, I can't wear this anymore. I've had dinner. I'm dying. And then you want just, and then you've had a dinner.
was that your like verbal impression?
Well,
is that you sucking back in at that point because you're feeling heavier after food?
No, you get
everything squeezed.
No, you get sucked at the start, and then and then you release.
That sounds like a great night. I don't know what the problem is there. This is where your supercomputer is. It's just got a spinning wheel in there at the moment now. It's suggesting that it's run out of memory and you need to quit some applications. I do know what you mean, but it's funnier watching this worm at this point.
Do you got the Bridget Jones knickers on?
Yeah, I know.
And then you want, got to get
I knew
these
exactly
off.
what you meant.
They're awful to me.
Yeah, men don't have that problem, but men, I am not speaking for all mankind here.
Some men
all men.
Participate.
A lot of men don't enjoy dressing up in formal wear. We do have friends who we know absolutely love getting dressed up in formal wear.
And they'll have matching outfits and look
fantastic. But I would say the majority don't enjoy it, and especially anyone sort of 60 down.
Can I just ask a question?
Well, it depends what you're going to ask.
No, because it's a very important question for my well-being.
Go for it.
Have I got mascara coming down my face?
No, you're good.
Oh, thank God for that, because I have to go to work after this.
Yeah, because we're recording this in the morning. Normally we do it in an evening.
And that's why we're just having water.
We did the previous one in the morning as well. So by the time we got back, it was a little bit late last night.
I have to go to work.
Have you any other thoughts on that? So going back to his original question, do you feel that formal wear has now become outdated? And is it on a phase-out period?
It's on the phase-out, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't think people are like that. I don't think they'll like that we've said that.
No,
but I think it'll become less and less.
I think there will be people who'll fight for it. I doubt that there will be many people who would disagree that it's on a phase-out.
No.
Because if you look across all the cruise lines, it feels like it's on a phase-out. But I would like to think that we will see more of those sort of themed dress to impress type nights.
Yes, where we can still get fancy.
Because as we've said, we get to dress up on the likes of Virgin and arguably wear fancier things on there that we wouldn't wear in normal life.
No, in Virgin on an evening, it's super fancy.
It is. People really get dressed up, but they're not getting dressed up in a prescriptive way, in the way that the cruise line says this is how you must dress.
No, but it
says go out and be amazing.
Yeah, because I've got to admit, on some nights on a cruise that's not Virgin, we've been on an excursion, we come back. I basically just show my hair the brush and put a bit of lipstick on, and that'll be me out. You can't do that on Virgin. You can't go out.
Because you know that the vast majority of people on are looking amazing, and it's of all ages.
Yeah, so I'd feel a bit like, I'd look and feel like death warmed up. So you can't do that. I know I have to allow, if we do go out on an excursion, say to Albania, that I allow time to get ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think cruising in a more formal way is getting out there?
If instead like Cunard have 1920s night, what other night could other ships do that you'd feel comfortable getting dressed up, like an 80s night or a 70s night?
That's an interesting thing, just before I move on to the cruise one, because Cunard sort of dropped the theme nights a few
brought them
months
back
ago,
again.
and then immediately brought them back when people sort of complained about
When
it.
there was...
What would we like to see lines like like Cunard evolve into, so that you do sort of keep that element to it? How can they evolve, and what would they change?
Yes.
So we have some cruise news.
Yes, please.
Okay. Royal Caribbean.
Oh, no.
Don't say oh no in that way. You don't know. We don't do bad stories. Talking about their new beach club at Nassau.
Oh, no. How much is this?
So it's called the Royal Beach Club Paradise Island.
Oh, it's very
just
expensive.
on the coast from Atlantis. It does look stunning.
Atlantis.
When we were sort of there last year, we saw them sort of building
doing
it.
stuff, yeah. Because it used to be where the little where the...
We could see the houses. It's just on from where the lighthouse is. If you don't know where it is, but you've been to Nassau, where you come into the port where there's the lighthouse on your left as you sail in, it's the strip that leads up to Atlantis, and that's where they're building it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware that it wasn't an inclusive option like sort of Coco Cay.
Oh, you have to pay to go on it?
Yes.
Oh, no.
So it starts off as expensive and just goes up.
Okay.
So for families, you can get a day pass.
Right.
And for guests aged 13 and older, it includes non-alcoholic drinks and dining on there.
Okay.
But you would have thought that because you get that on the ship.
Yeah.
And that starts at $129 per person.
Oof.
And $109 for younger cruisers between 4 and 12.
I'm just trying to cost it against Atlantis. So that's still okay.
Not cheap.
But it's cheaper than Atlantis, though.
It is, but you've not already paid Atlantis for the cruise.
No, that's true. Go on.
You haven't already paid for your food, have you?
No.
And it's free for the guests aged 3 and younger. So they do have a fully inclusive experience. You've got to be 21 and over because it includes alcohol, which includes an unlimited open bar and dining.
Okay.
So again, if you have the drinks package, that isn't valid.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is bad value if you don't have the drinks package, because that's $169 per person compared to $129. So you're paying $40 for unlimited drinks for the day.
Well, okay,
so that doesn't seem
I mean, how much
unreasonable.
Would it be in Senior Frogs?
We'd definitely spend more than $40.
We've still never been.
So it doesn't seem crazy.
Yeah.
For all passes, such as lounges, umbrellas, towels, Wi-Fi, apparently round-trip ferry transportation, they're all included.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
I'd never thought about how they get there. Cause
I thought you just turn left.
See it. You could almost take a running jump and get across.
Like a zip wire.
Or they'd put like a temporary bridge over or something.
Zip wire?
A zip wire from ship would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I think we've just given them a thing there.
Yeah, I don't think they probably will do. What's interesting is they're also opening it up, and it's the first of any cruise line to do this for any of their private resorts, albeit the others are normally islands. They're opening it up to locals to be able to go into it. Of course, they have to pay when there's availability. Okay. So in other words, when there's cruise lines not in, you'll better pay.
I don't know how long that'll last.
Do you want to know about some of the expensive upgrades? And have a guess at what it's going to cost.
Okay,
so, as usual, they have cabanas.
Yes.
And they haven't issued the price of any of these.
So which way is the cabana facing? Is it facing the ships or is it facing the sea?
I would expect that it'd face out to sea.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're just looking at sort of like a party area, right?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe on both sides.
Breezy, that bit.
But they've got something called the Ultimate Family Cabana.
Of course they do.
Because they're like an ultimate family something. That's their most luxurious option.
Okay.
It's multi-level.
Has it got a slide?
They haven't said.
Oh, it's got a slide.
No, they have said it's got a slide.
I knew it would have. They love a slide.
It's got a frozen drinks machine.
Okay.
Dedicated attendant, just for that one specific.
Sounds like me.
And other amenities as part of it. How much do you think that would be?
$1,500.
Ooh.
How much is it?
They haven't said.
Oh.
This is us speculating. I think it'll be a lot more than that.
Then $1,500?
Yeah, I reckon that Ultimate Family Cabana is going to be like $4,000 a day. It's got a slushy machine. And a slide.
Well, we've got a slushy bullet.
That is not the same. We don't have a slide. They've also
have an attendant.
They've also got the world's largest swim-up bar, which I'm quite surprised at because the area of land doesn't seem that big to have the largest swim-up bar. But it might be long.
They might have built out.
They might have built out. I doubt they built the island out.
It could have got wider.
I think it's probably just a long bar. And it's got a party deck on the second floor called the Floating Flamingo.
Oh, anyway. so that it's gone up as well as out.
Yeah, absolutely. So that opens in a few months' time, end of this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing video footage of that. We won't be going there this year. It's not on our agenda to do it, but I'll be really curious to see it whenever we're next over there, even if we're not on Royal. It'll be just, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Cruise story number 2.
Okay.
And this is bad news for Emma Cruises.
Why?
Because Carnival Cruise Lines dropped Pepsi.
Is it not Emma and Will?
Does Will like Pepsi as well?
I can't remember.
I know Emma loves her Pepsi. They're dropping it and bringing Coca-Cola back.
Oh.
So it's quite interesting because, as we know, sort of soda/pop brands can...
We never say pop.
What do we say?
We just say we'll get a Coca-Cola. A Coca-Cola.
Can of Coke.
I say Coke.
I say pop occasionally.
I say naughty Coke.
Naughty Coke?
Because
I get full-fat Coke.
Just the naughty uses proper sugar Coke.
Yeah.
I can't do synthetic
You can have
stuff.
proper Coke on those going forward, but you can't have Pepsi Max.
Okay.
Soda brands do sort of create of severe loyalty between them. So it'll be interesting of sort of people's reactions to that. I thought it had actually been longer, but Pepsi's been the onboard option only since 2020.
Okay.
So I thought it had been sort of there.
I'm just trying to think why I've not noticed, but I'm guessing when you put tequila,
when you put alcohol with it, you don't notice after a while.
No.
And if I'm honest, I don't dislike Pepsi.
No, it's just as long as it's got alcohol in it. It's fine.
As long as there's some rum in there, or Malibu, I'm good.
Or vodka.
Or most alcohol.
Amaretto.
Whiskey.
Oh,
bourbon.
Yeah, I was going to say Jack Daniels.
Yeah. So, in summary, we don't care about this as long as there's alcohol still available. But the switch is going to start later this summer.
Okay.
It's only happening initially across the North American fleet. Bear in mind, this is Carnival Cruise Line. As opposed to group initially.
Yes.
But they have said that ships that are based in Europe and Carnival Australia, when they go back to the US, will be swapped over to it.
Okay.
So they're not going to be affected in the immediate, but they will at some point.
Okay.
What will be interesting to see is if they change that across the other brands such as P&O, Cunard, Princess.
Doesn't it come with other things though? So then you get Sprite and that kind of malarkey.
Yeah, you get the Coca-Cola range as opposed to sort of the Pepsi range of drinks. So it'll be interesting anyway.
Okay.
Final cruise news story.
Okay.
We have a new behind the scenes cruising show starting.
Behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Like a galley thing.
That's how it's been described.
Okay.
So it's a UK production. Right. As a lot of these cruise shows tend to be. I don't know why they predominantly end up being sort of the UK one.
Oh, like a TV show?
Yeah, TV show.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like on a tour.
No. So this is a TV show.
Okay.
So UK production that's doing it, and it's called The Secrets of Super Cruises.
Okay.
That's its working title, so it might change by the time it comes out. In the UK, it's going to air on Channel 4.
Yeah.
It'll be international, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But who it ends up being, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Which cruise line do you think they're going on?
Go on.
Holland America.
Oh.
So they've been filming aboard New Dam and Rotterdam.
Okay, they're both beautiful ships.
They are. New Dam at the moment going out of the UK.
That'll be interesting.
I don't know when they filmed this.
Okay.
Because there's talks of showing people when they were in the Caribbean and South America.
So before this.
So it was probably the back end of last year as opposed to this year. And then the Canary Islands.
Okay.
So probably as it sort of came around there.
Yeah.
The name of it suggests that it's about people who are going to spend a lot of the time on cruise ships.
Yes, it does.
But it's actually referring to the ships themselves as super cruisers.
Okay.
As opposed to that. They have said that it's going to do a lot of literal behind the scenes of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
So not just focusing on passengers as well,
Okay.
but it will do that as well.
Yeah, like they all do, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm interested to see is how it will fare for Holland America, because historically, these type of shows tend to go for sensationalism.
Yeah, because even, what is it, when they were on the really fancy ship, they made that seem weird.
Yeah, with Regent.
Might have been, yeah.
We saw it with Virgin, we've seen it with Princess, we've seen it with P&O. They generally don't show anyone in good light.
No.
Whether it's sort of cruising, the guests, the staff, there's always chaos, and it always makes people.
But there is always chaos.
There is, but
that's why.
But you don't see that.
No, you do. There's a reason they always make property shows about you renovating a property or building, because things go wrong, things go weird. Everybody's life is their own show.
All right, so with that in mind, then, why do you think the cruise lines continue to volunteer to doing this? Because you don't tend to see them doing it more than 2 or 3 seasons.
No,
they tend to go, we've done enough. Is it just brand awareness and PR and nothing else? And they accept that there will be some backfire from it.
But they'll also, for everyone who watches it to go, oh, I'd never go on a cruise, there'll be somebody going, oh, I love the look of that, and those people are like me, and that I could go on that excursion. So it's titillating those bits in people.
It is. When we've watched these shows in the past, they are titillating.
Oh, you think, oh, I could do that, or I wouldn't want to work there, or that looks.
But I do think that in some circumstances, they can be fairly brand damaging and create an image in people's.
Oh, yeah, because Virgin got the.
Well, the Virgin one, everyone linked that to other things. Yeah. And we're like, oh, this is not for me, this ship. It's just a party thing. Everyone, it's like Benidorm at sea type thing.
Yeah, it's not at all.
And
I think they'd probably say Ibiza.
I think they might say that. I don't think that's what it was portrayed at the time.
But
so it'll be. We will definitely end up watching it.
Yeah, we do.
So it'll be fascinating to watch. And it's one of those sitting there with the popcorn, isn't it? And laughing. Because there'll be things we've seen on there that we go, oh yeah, we've seen things like that happen. And then there'll be stuff like, oh really? Yeah. They got lucky of that happening just as they were filming at that time. Yeah. Because it always makes me think of the old TV show Drop the Dead Donkey, where they set things up. I'm not suggesting for a second that they do, but it makes me think of that.
No, I mean, but sometimes I'm at work and things happen, and we say if this was a TV show, people would say
they should make a TV show at your work.
Oh my goodness!
I think that'd be interesting. So if you want to get in touch with Linzi, if you're a TV production company, get in touch. It'd be fascinating. Well, that brings us to the end of this particular episode.
Well, I have to go to work now for another episode.
Are you going for today's episode? What's today's episode called?
Wednesday.
It's just called Wednesday. Okay. Well, on that inspirational supercomputer, I'll play us out with a little movie.
Yeah, I've got a lot of RAM right now.
Didn't say your thing.
Have a lovely day.